Hey vinyl community, in this video I'm going to be going through my John Lennon Plastic Ono Band collection, but before I do, I just want to give a quick shout out to my main man JC over at Flipside Vinyl. He was cool enough to BCLT me some Lana Del Rey. This is her album Ultraviolence. Great album. I've been getting into Lana Del Rey a lot within the last week or two. Got some of her albums, and Josh says this is her best album. Haven't listened to it all the way through, but what I have heard so far I have loved. So thank you so much, Josh. You are great. Check out JC Flipside Vinyl. You've seen him on this channel. We do our Four Horsemen videos and whatnot, but anyway, thank you so much, Josh. You are the coolest. So we're going to get into John Lennon's first proper solo album that strictly contained music. That is Plastic Ono Band. It was released in 1970. Some people consider it the best solo Beatles album, but it's got some stiff competition, obviously. So I'm going to go first through the vinyl that I have. This is one of the original Apple pressings of Plastic Ono Band. And this is curiously on the white Apple label. And not really an inner, well, actually there is an inner sleeve. And that's what it looks like. It's got lyrics to the songs and a drawing by John Lennon. And you can definitely smell the age on this inner sleeve. So, very cool. You know, it's rare to find inner sleeves on some of these older albums. So, I'm happy that this one has an inner sleeve on it. Then also have another vinyl copy of it. This is also an Apple pressing. It's in a little bit cleaner shape. Presents a little better than the one that I just showed you. Still on the Apple label, so I'm not gonna bother pulling that vinyl out. And then this was a Capital Purple label. This was released in the late 70s. No inner sleeve, no special inner sleeve on here, but this is what that vinyl looks like. Nothing special. Sound quality is not as great as it is on the original pressing, but I've got it. It's cool to own. Usually on these it says reissued, but on this one it does not anywhere on the sleeve. So for all intents and purposes, it looks like, except on the spine, it looks the same as the other copies that I have. And then this is the 50th anniversary edition. This is the double edition. I did a video separately on this one, so I'm not going to go through this one. Again, you can check out that other video. I do a little more thorough unboxing of that one. Now I am going to go through the cassettes that I have. This is the original cassette version of Plastic Ono Band, and therefore it is on the white cassette shell, as I tried to drop and break my other one. And nothing in the J card there by way of information. And then this is a 90s reissue of Plastic Ono Band on cassette. Kind of looks the same. The J card looks a little bit the same, except there's a barcode here now, and the cassette itself is clear. Still nothing inside the J card as far as that goes. Now on CD, this was the very first CD release of Plastic Ono Band. It's got the title there. Just plain green on the back. That's what the CD itself looks like. And on the inside, in green, you've got lyrics, the photograph that was on the back of the original vinyl, the drawing. So pretty faithful replicating what was in the original vinyl. And this was released in the late 80s. And then in 2000, the album got a remastered version. You can see in this area right here, this says John Lennon Plastic Ono Band, digitally remixed and remastered. That's what the back of that CD looks like. It's the CD itself. And then the booklet has some photographs that were not in the original. And the lyrics, these ones are handwritten. So a pretty cool booklet. Love the pictures that were included. And then as part of the Lennon box set that was released in 2010, this was the Digipack version of Plastic Ono Band, which is pretty faithful to the original. You got this photograph in the gatefold, and then the booklet itself. Interesting, because on this booklet you have the cover of John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band, and then Yoko also released a Plastic Ono Band album, and you have the cover of her album. The difference is that on Yoko's version, Yoko is laying in John's lap, and on John's version, John is laying in Yoko's lap. So that's pretty cool. Got essay here, some photographs that were also in the 2000 remastered CD, and the lyrics. So a pretty cool package. And the CD itself looks like that. And then this is the deluxe CD edition, which I showed when I got it in the mail, but I haven't actually unboxed this. So basically what you get is there is a very nice thick hardcover book that comes with this that has some great photographs. And I always love looking at these photographs, just the evolution of John's look during this period when this album was recorded, because he went from having very long hair and some facial hair, and then he and Yoko cut off all their hair to donate it to Michael X, who was a civil rights activist in, I think it was Great Britain. I don't know the entire story of it, but they auctioned it off for him. And John has very close cropped hair, as seen in the photograph right here. And also when he did the Instant Karma video, his hair is as short as it ever was since the Beatle days. That's another good photograph right there. And then started to grow it out a little bit. And by the album photograph, obviously it's grown out a bit more. There's some older photographs of John too that are in this booklet. I'm not going to go through the entire booklet, but basically you've got a lot of photographs. This is a picture of John with his hair kind of growing out a little bit. See what I'm talking about? And then a lot of cool photographs with some of the tape boxes and drawings and lyrics and whatnot. So really a handsome package. And so there are two separate containers or sleeves for, one is for the DVDs, or I'm sorry, not DVDs, the Blu-rays. So this is the Blu-rays that you get are housed in this package. And the Blu-rays contain, and it's kind of hard to distinguish what's on the Blu-rays, but basically the Blu-ray, and I've never understood Blu-ray audio. Do people have their Blu-ray player hooked up to their stereo system? And is that sound supposed to be really improved on what you get on CD? I'm legitimately asking the question. I don't know. But basically on Blu-ray, you get the ultimate mixes and you get the raw studio mixes. And I have to imagine that they must sound a lot better than the CD. Otherwise, why would they bother? There's not any Blu-ray material that you can actually watch, as I understand it. And then this is the one that houses the CDs themselves. There's 6 CDs here, and then you also get a poster. War is Over, if you want it. Love John and Yoko. I'm not going to fold that whole thing out. And then you get some postcards also, which are very cool. And then the CDs themselves look like so. And so what is on the CDs? What makes this a must-buy if you're a John Lennon fan? Well, to start off, the Ultimate Mixes are on CD 1. Ultimate Mixes, the songs have been remixed, and they sound incredible. Definitely an improvement over any previously available CD version that has been out there. And they also include Give Peace a Chance, Cold Turkey, and Instant Karma. And then they have outtakes. For instance, Mother, take 61, and they're all chronological the way that they appeared on the original album. So Mother, take 61, Hold On, take 2, I Found Out, take 1, Working Class Hero, take 1, Isolation, take 23, Remember, Rehearsal 1, Love, take 6. So different mixes essentially, and then different mixes also of Give Peace a Chance, Cold Turkey, and Instant Karma. And then you have the Elements mixes, which is on disc 3. And what the element mixes are is, for instance, on Mother, you just get the vocal track. There's no piano, no drums, just John's vocal isolated. On Hold On, it's just John and the electric guitar. There's no drums, there's no bass. So they just bring out certain elements in these mixes and discard the rest of it. I found out sounded pretty faithful to the original. It still sounded really great. Working Class Hero is a bit of an alternate take on that one. Isolation is great. Remember, I haven't listened to all the Elemental mixes, but essentially that's what it is. They take certain tracks, you know, the bass track and the vocal, and that's all you get on these tracks. But they sort of highlight the most crucial or interesting elements of the particular mix. So it's the final mix, but they just bring up certain parts, certain instruments, John's vocal, and they really kind of accentuate John's vocal and that particular instrument. It's a different mix than what was on the original album. And then you have demos. There's a disc of demos on CD 6, which is what it says, demos of all the tracks, including Give Peace a Chance, Cold Turkey, and Instant Karma. Then on CD 4, you've got the raw studio mixes, new mixes, which use different takes. Mother, take 64 and 93, like a hybrid. Hold On, take 32. I Found Out, take 3. Working Class Hero, take 9. Isolation, take 20. So it's another disc of alternate takes from the original mix, including Give Peace a Chance, Cold Turkey, and Instant Karma. And then for my money, the most interesting, the one that I had the most fun listening to is on disc, which disc is that? Disc 5, CD 5. They have what's called the Evolution mixes. And what it is it's a collage broken down by track of John running through these songs with the musicians. And there's a lot of take breakdowns. There's a lot of false starts. There's a lot of studio dialogue from John as he is shaping these songs into the way that they would eventually sound on the record. He might be trying different tempos, different rhythms, different instruments. different ways of playing with sound textures and rhythms and introducing different instruments. And it's very interesting to see how the track evolved over the course of the recording session. It's not as detailed as maybe like the Smiles session tapes from the Beach Boys, but it's definitely interesting hearing how those tracks evolved. And John having fun in the studio. He's making fun of himself. He's giving the other musicians shit when they screw up. But he's definitely having fun in the studio. And in spite of the real heaviness of the subject matter on this album, you can tell he's having a good time. He's enjoying being in the studio without the Beatles, kind of directing the show. Yoko's giving a lot of input. He's often asking Yoko, how does that sound, Yoko? Does that sound okay? And so there's that kind of banter back and forth. Couple more things that I wanted to show. This is the hardcover book. It is John and Yoko Plastic Ono Band. And this is a really thick book here. And it's got a treasure trove of photographs and essays and interviews with people that were part of the sessions. It is really a great book. If you want a deep dive into the Plastic Ono Band sessions, this is a great coffee table book to have. I got this for Christmas, but I've never really showed it in a video before to any extent. You've got handwritten lyrics here, letters that John wrote from this period. So it's really the year 1970. You got some old Beatle photographs also here as they go through sort of the history that led up to the Plastic Ono Band album. So it's really a great book if you want to explore more. If you just love getting immersed in all the photographs, there's a lot of photographs I'd never seen before in that book. And I love reading up on it. They had an Imagine book just like that when Imagine was released a couple of years ago, a companion piece to that. This is also a great DVD to have. This is the classic album series. This is the Plastic Ono Band one. And this, of course, chronicles the making of the Plastic Ono Band album. Very enjoyable. They go track by track. They break it down. They talk about each track. They do a little, mixing in the studio so you can hear certain elements in isolation while they're playing the track. But very interesting. I love this album, and I love hearing about how it was made, and you get engineers and musicians talking about the album. So it is very cool. So the album itself, this was a period in John's life, one of transition, and it feels like John is clearing the decks. The Beatles had just broken up, and John and Yoko are on their own making this album with just Klaus Voormann, and Ringo Starr is on drums. It's just a real basic, band that you have here. Phil Spector somewhat produces this album. He's credited as producer on here. But basically, this is one of the rawest, most uncompromising personal recordings made by any of the Beatles, and made by any artist, really, for that matter. It's very raw. John had gone through what was called primal scream therapy with a psychologist, Arthur Janov, who basically would take people back to their childhoods. It's an interesting kind of therapy. I think it's probably pretty controversial now, but the person going through the therapy would go back into the womb and they would re-experience the birth process. There was a lot of screaming that was involved, which was supposed to be therapeutic as people recalled painful memories from their past. And so that's why there's a lot of screaming on this album. The first track, Mother, John at the end, as he keeps saying, "Mother, don't go, Daddy, come home." He increasingly more impassioned vocals and screaming by the end of that track. And basically, it is John exercising all of his demons, all of his hangups, everything that has brought him emotional pain over the course of his life. And so it starts with Mother. One of John's first traumas was the fact that his father left him, and then he was raised by his aunt, Mimi, and then his mother was killed. She was run over by an off-duty policeman. And so John had lost both of his parents. His father had abandoned him. His mother was dead. He was raised by his aunt. And he really never got over that. And Mother is pretty much telling that story. Hold On John, which is the second track, is basically John sort of self-soothing, telling Yoko, it's going to be okay. They had kind of a rough year. There were a lot of, in 1969, the Beatles had done the Let It Be project, and then John and Yoko had done a number of, staged political and artistic events like the Montreal Bet-In, and they were really taken to task in the press. A lot of the press made fun of them. A lot of the press were taking shots at them. And they really were taking a lot of shit from the press. The other Beatles had some resentment towards Yoko and definitely had some resentments there. And John and Yoko had gone through heroin withdrawal as well. They had become addicted to heroin at one point. So 1969 was a very rough year. And so you get the sense on this album that John is kind of clearing the decks. He's taking stock of what happened to him and how he's going to move forward. And so on Hold On John, it's really John telling himself and Yoko, hang in there, it's going to be okay. And it's sort of a pep talk that he's giving to himself and Yoko. I found out is John railing against all of hippies and the political people who were trying to hound him, Beatle fans, people who were trying to sell him on their politics, get them to write him checks for whatever their cause was, and him just saying, look, I'm sick of all you people, and I don't want to hear about it, and don't be fooled by these people who tell you that drugs are the answer and that you should blindly follow any political dogma. So it's John's kind of statement of back off, and I don't need to get involved in that right now, which is interesting because 2 albums later, sometime in New York City, he was totally immersed in the politics and counterculture topics and things that he would embrace. But nonetheless, at this point in that song, he's saying, I don't want to know right now. And then you have Working Class Hero, which is kind of John's manifesto, talking about, he was raised and let down by people in authority, basically don't trust people in authority, and people all his life have kind of beaten him down. So it's really it's like a song of defiance, his own little protest song against authority and people who would try to manipulate him and, try to make him toe the line. And John was definitely a rebel, and so it's a song of rebellion, definitely. And then Isolation is back to John and Yoko feeling like it's them against the world. They'd taken a lot of heat. A lot of people had made fun of them and attacked them over the last year. And just that isolation, and John kind of lashing out about how he felt persecuted in the press from the other Beatles, from people who were judging him. And then, Remember, again, is kind of hearkening back to his youth and the things that, or the people and experiences that he had growing up where he became disillusioned. The track Love is one of John's most beautiful love songs. It's so basic, it's so childlike, and yet that's what was so charming about John, is he could write a track like that, and it could be so beautiful and mesmerizing. Then you got Well, 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 which is kind of a lusty love song, a fun track for John. Then you got Look at Me, which was a song that John had demoed in 1968 when the Beatles were making the White Album. And then you've got God, which is John telling the world all the things that he doesn't believe in, all the false prophets, all the leaders that he doesn't believe in, the religious dogma that he doesn't believe in anymore, even the Beatles. John is pretty much saying, I don't believe in any of this. The only thing I believe in is himself and Yoko. And basically, John saying this album, in a lot of ways, is John saying the 60s was all bullshit. You know, he's talking about the Beatles. The Beatles were as fake as any of the other beliefs that he had, that he espouses in the song God. And he is reinventing himself. He's not going to be naive anymore. His eyes are wide open, and he's moving forward with himself and Yoko, and they're going to be true to themselves. And then the album comes full circle. The first track was Mother, and then John revisits that theme at the end, and he is processing the fact that, you know, my mommy's dead, his mom's dead, and that's at the root. Everything that he is lashing out at, all the anger, all the pain that he's communicating through this album, he traces it all back to the fact that his mom died, and that's kind of when, you know, for him, the floor went out from underneath him. Woo! And my light just went out on me. How about that? That means the video's over. My time is done. I'm sorry this video went a little long, but I just wanted to show all of my Plastic Ono Band stuff. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hope maybe you learned a thing or two. So anyway, take care and be well.